All right, folks, welcome back to Pangburn. Here we are again. Today, we are dealing with an issue I take very seriously when it comes to producing live intellectual discussions, and that is security. So there is a video going quite viral right now by Warren Smith that we're going to watch together today. I haven't seen the whole video, I've seen pieces of it. And it's titled, How Close Konstantin Kisin Came to Being Assassinated During His Debate with Destiny. So we're going to look at that, and I'm going to offer some insights as to what's been happening on my end with regard to this. So Konstantin Kisin's team did get in touch with me, and they shared this video with me that, obviously the title and everything I found quite concerning. So I took a look at some of it, but more importantly, I was interested in what the team member had to say who got in touch with me. I believe it's one of Konstantin Kisin's managers. And they basically mentioned that they were trying to gather information about who this individual might be who claims to have been in attendance. I haven't seen definitive proof that they were in attendance yet, but I have been told that that Konstantin's security detail is in touch with law enforcement, and they have an address for this individual. They did provide a name for me, and I checked the ticket manifest to see if I could find any information to hand over to law enforcement. And of course, law enforcement can have access to anything they need. But I didn't find the exact name that was provided. And there were 3 first name matches, but not the last name matches. So that was all I was able to find on my end. And by the time I mentioned all of that and provided some images I took of the crowd, front-facing images, they had said that they had already tracked down, their security detail had already tracked down an address and whatnot. But I have to say that just right off the bat, as a moral well-beingist, I find it absolutely disgusting, deplorable. Something I want to see completely ended is this kind of violent rhetoric, and rhetoric that sometimes spills over into actual physical violence towards anyone that is engaging in the war of ideas. I find it so disgusting, and so much it really is antithetical to what I am all about. It really is the antithesis. It is the quote unquote antichrist of what we promote and try to do at Pangburn. So whenever I see things like this, it's quite distressing. And then this opens up some interesting questions into what do we do with regards to security at Pangburn. So we currently have a policy, if we're doing an event of a political nature in the United States, we have metal detection wanding and pat downs for all ins and outs, controlling one entrance that also acts as an exit as well. We do have emergency exits just in case, but so everyone who leaves for any reason has to get pat down again and metal detected again, and that's in the United States. And a lot of that has to do with the gun, what I would call gun fanaticism or gun cult, I often call it, in the United States. And when we were down in Houston, Texas, and it's not that these people were doing anything illegal, but we turned away, I think it was 3 firearms and a couple knives when we were down in Texas. But, as a Canadian, that can be shocking. But I was told that this is quite normal for events in Texas. By the way, thank you for being here, everybody. Please smash that like button if you enjoy the live streams and analysis here. So yeah, we have pretty heavy security protocols for ins and outs. And then typically with high profile individuals, we will have personal security protocol that more tends to the stage area where they will be speaking, and then also accompanying them to the poster signing. If you've never been to a Pangburn event, we always have free of charge poster signing happening, where as many people as we can get through the line, we give them a free poster to be signed by the individuals who are speaking on our stage. And during that time, people get quite close to the speakers, which is fun, and everyone gets. We try to let as many people take pictures as well as we can. If I'm standing there, I have my. As soon as they hand me their phone, I'm like 3, 2, 1. So they're scrambling to get in line, and then quickly get them out of there, because we have usually 300 people we're trying to work through. So yeah, yeah, we take security very seriously, and of course, anyone who has any violent tendencies or thoughts of doing violence towards a speaker, we don't want you at our events. We want you to go and seek help to try to seek higher levels of mental health, social health, and physical health for yourself. And in cases where we have someone that it appears to be in this video, someone who claims to have attended the event, saying that they had these urges to go up and commit violence against one of our speakers, we want to help law enforcement in any way we can to deal with this dangerous individual. So let's get into this video and watch it together. I have not seen this, so let's take a look. I've seen little pieces of it, I should say, but let's see.
From the Charlie Kirk killing.
This guy was sitting mere.
Let's see.
I've learned from the Charlie Kirk killing.
This guy was sitting mere feet away from Konstantin Kisin during his debate with Destiny. When you hear what he has to say, it is scary to think how this could have gone.
I was like...
So first of all, right off the bat, I don't think this guy, Warren Smith, knew that he was sitting feet away from Konstantin Kisin by the time he published this. So, a note to him, I would be very careful to make sure you're not, jumping the gun on some of the information, and I'll see how much they disclose throughout the course of this. But even as the event organizer, with everyone's information, including their addresses, their contact information, everything, we weren't able to confirm that this person was actually at the event. So I would be careful what you're signaling out to your audiences there.
Fucking locked onto his eyes, and he kept like glancing down at me and then like breaking eye contact, because I fucking hate the guy. I was just like, I wanted to kill him.
I stumbled upon this stream when I was just trying to research and understand the opposing view, and I was shocked by some of the things this guy was saying. Keep in mind, this guy was sitting in Konstantin's eye line.
And I think he got distracted by that and didn't pay attention to a single thing.
What are things?
So this guy, it seems like he's dealing with some kind of delusion of grandeur, as though like he was a central focus of Konstantin Kisin's while he was interlocked with Destiny, which I think is almost certainly quite delusional.
Yes, it is just talk, but there is something.
Distracted.
And this is all, of course, if in fact he did attend this event.
And didn't pay attention to a single thing.
What are things?
Yes, it is just talk, but there is something more disturbing beneath the surface here. He's openly talking about wanting to assassinate Konstantin. This could have gone very differently.
Yeah, so it's not just talk. This is this is important stuff for law enforcement to investigate. So raising the alarm bell here is definitely appropriate.
He even has a box. He even has a box cutter or X-Acto knife.
I should have done.
Wait, let me go back a second here.
He even has a box cutter or X-Acto knife.
I should have done.
Sorry,
Konstantin. This could have gone very differently. He even has a box cutter or X-Acto knife.
I should have done.
Yikes.
Stanley Blades just fucking sprinted up onto the stage, slash Konstantin in the fucking jugular.
Yeah, so this guy may have seen this in like a comic book or in an action film, but the security detail protecting Konstantin and Destiny on stage, this guy would have maybe made it to the lip of the stage, and he would have been blunt force tackled with great power by the security detail, and he might have not even realized where they were or who they were. So yeah, this fantasy of getting up there and slashing Konstantin in the jugular, no man, yeah, you would have been done before you know it, and that's a lot of people don't realize like these events are well secured. You're not going to get away with stuff like that. A question will be like, how did he, if he did in fact have a box cutter, does that mean we should start doing wanding at all of our events overseas in the UK? And it's something I would consider, but I am interested to see if this person did in fact attend the event. One thing I will say that I did mention to Konstantin's management team is that this individual does look familiar. The manager mentioned to me that they looked familiar to them as well, because the manager was in attendance, and I think and she had mentioned that he was kind of sweating profusely in the poster signing line, and that kind of made sense to my memory. But again, it's 300 faces. So it's difficult to tell, but everyone coming in and out of the venue in the UK does get full pat down and bag searched and things like that. But we might, depending on what we see here, like it's also a cost benefit analysis as well when it comes to producing live intellectual discussions. If you start stacking on like too many security costs and things like that, when in our 10-year history we've never had a violent incident or anyone become threatening even in the audience. This is the first in 10 years. Again, if in fact this person even attended the event, which if I had to guess at this point, I would say, yeah, they probably did. There is a familiarity there in this person's appearance. They're going by Private Gomer Pyle here. By the way, I'll try to get to as many questions as I can, but if you do drop a super chat, I will read it out and address it for sure before the end of this stream. Well, let's keep watching here. Go back a little bit.
Konstantin in the fucking jugular.
But he wants to kill him. You can see the chat. They're all thinking the same thing, it seems. No one seems to be bothered by this because it has become so commonplace.
I can't see the chat here. When he says nobody seems to be bothered by this, that would be interesting to investigate.
He knows he can do this. YouTube's not going to do anything.
Done. Sorted. Prison forever on the one.
YouTube will do something. I don't know where he's getting that from. YouTube takes violence like this very seriously. They they take care of issues like this all the time. So I don't know what Warren Smith is talking about. I've noticed some of Warren Smith's analysis, and I'm actually going to do a live stream reacting to and critiquing other debate critiques from this particular debate to see how high resolution these things are. But I find Warren Smith's takes, some people have sent me them, to be very, very low resolution, like McDonald's level philosophy. So yeah, we'll have to see here.
Hand, prison forever on the one hand, and then I should have gone. Then I should have gone woke jihad. Woke jihad. I should have gone for the white race or something. I don't know.
You could say, oh, okay.
It's almost like this is a parody, but unfortunately, it also could be true. So it's like, it's quite sickening if, in fact, this isn't just a big fat joke. And I mean, if it is a joke, you gotta work on your delivery.
Okay, well, he just worded that poorly. It's just an expression, but he takes this much farther. Then he gets into, based on what happened to Charlie Kirk, this is what I have learned when it comes to how to kill conservatives.
No, I feel like my genuine psychopath thought that I've learned from the Charlie Kirk killing is, if you are going to assassinate a political target, then try to reduce the gore as much as possible so people can't sympathize with the bastard who's getting it.
Reduce the gore, so that will reduce the sympathy. I mean, I'm not sure that played any role in the reactions to Charlie Kirk. I mean, I would want to ask this guy the empirical realities of what is informing this belief, but something tells me he wouldn't have much to offer. It would be more like we were talking with Joe Rogan yesterday, vibes-based epistemology.
So you'd have to go up with like a cape and like cover him in a cape and do it cleanly under there, you know. Like
cover him in a cape. Yeah, I'm gonna take this guy seriously as opposed to thinking he might just be, you know, joking around. But so yeah, this is some very scary, delusional things. This person needs a lot of help.
Like an abattoir.
So he's literally openly talking about assassinating political targets here. So the question is, well, why? That's what I wanted to understand. That's why I take the time to even look at these streams.
It's all like dog whistling. We need to secure a future for the white people.
He makes it very clear. His belief is Konstantin is a racist.
And all it is appealing or dog whistling to the stupidest voters, like the dumbest 10% of people.
So this is an extreme version of the overgeneralization fallacy that I harp on all the time. It is literally brain rot, brain cancer. It's committed by professional intellectuals all the way down to Gomer Pyle here. Where you just overgeneralize large swaths and large groups of people, large ideas, and all kinds of things like this, and this is a breeding ground for demonization, and demonization is of course a breeding ground for violence.
Who happen to be racist as well. Stick up for racism.
But then he talks about the real problem here is the weak white culture of the UK.
We simply don't have the white people stepping up and educating themselves in the right kinds of ways because of culture issues, I guess, because of the weak white culture.
He is the very thing he thinks he is fighting against. His entire analysis of Konstantin's ideas are absolutely mischaracterized. He's not contending with them at all. And then he uses those ideas as his justification.
Based on these fucking ideas, for me to vote for the Green candidate, you retard piece of shit, Konstantin. Slap, mug, you mug.
Well, the thing.
This provides us a window into this mentality, into the psychology of people like this. It's important to understand. It's important to see.
We hadn't also at the same time had the doctrine.
A lot of this would be much easier to manage if I got on that stage, grab his fucking lapels, right, flip in, and fucking ip-on, bang. Right over. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about right over my hip. Konstantin's right over my hip. I've got his fucking lapel. Bang.
I genuinely don't.
Yeah, this guy's watched too many action films or something. It's really sad to see, honestly. This is someone who needs immediate mental health treatment, and it's very scary because a guy like this could have, if he did in fact attend the event, could have tried something, and and could have hurt someone, even if it wasn't Konstantin, maybe someone else. So this stuff has to be taken serious, and it is quite terrifying.
I genuinely don't understand it. Even if you disagree with Konstantin, how could what he's saying upset you this much?
Honestly, you're right. By the lapels, fucking hoof.
So within Pangburn philosophy, there are 6 virtues and maxims, and one of them is the patience virtue, and this is directly born out of Daryl Davis. If you're not familiar with Daryl Davis, he's one of my living heroes. He is the black man that goes into the KKK to convert grand wizards, derobe them by way of the good faith, helpful dialectic. And one of the greatest traits, one of the most amazing things about Daryl is he's maybe one of the most patient human beings that's ever lived. And the corresponding maxim to go with the Pangburn virtue of patience is ultimate patience, even in the face of detestable ideas. Even in the face of detestable ideas. So, adopting this kind of patience virtue and maxim in this individual, if he was truly acting it out, the praxis, what does this virtue look like and maxim look like in practice? If he was truly acting this out, he would fight for ultimate patience, even in the face of detestable ideas. And of course, it would be a display of impatience to be acting in this way towards this other person because of the ideas that they hold.
Right, I'm talking bang, and his whole body just goes bosh into the fucking wood. That's what I'm saying.
People will claim this guy doesn't have a massive reputation, okay? But we see these same ideas reflected at a higher level. Literally just yesterday, I stumbled on a stream where Destiny's head moderator is trying to talk to Destiny because he is concerned, because he is seeing too many calls for violence in their Discord server. And he's beginning to worry that people aren't actually joking.
Yesterday, I think Destiny referred to it as like kind of school shooter vibes going on as far as how people are talking in a way that makes people think that like not just radical and like I'm so tired of people saying like, well, Trump did radicalize me. You should be radical under Trump. I'm talking about radical as in like gonna cause violence in a way that isn't what everybody thinks it is kind of way. And I know like your argument is like, well, people like Trump and things like that, like they can say this stuff openly. And like, I completely understand that argument. My argument is that people aren't taking this serious. And if they are taking it serious and they are meaning the words that they're saying and they're not joking, that is the problem.
Okay.
Everyone's joking though.
But everybody's not joking though. My concern is that we are vastly approaching like point of no return in our own rhetoric within the community. And I think that it is being furthered by us not addressing it.
I'm forced to ask myself, how is this, if YouTube is going to kick off people like we've seen them kick off, why is this tolerated?
I'm hearing music. Oh, it's in his stream.
Thank you.
Yeah, Konstantin.
So yeah, I do think people who have online communities do have an obligation, and as a moral well-beingist, I think they have a moral obligation in general to address any kind of violent rhetoric or violent plannings or anything like this that are happening within their community, and they do need to set a strong example against this. I think that is very important. Thank you for so much of you being here. Please smash that like button if you enjoy this kind of analysis and if you're enjoying this stream. I will, if anyone does drop a super chat, I'll be guaranteed to respond to it if it's a question or a comment or anything. But I will, in general, try to scroll through and get to as many comments as I can as well. And I hope you're subscribed to the channel here. The next video is going to be us going through different analyses of the Konstantin versus Destiny debate. The reason why I'm covering this particular event so much is because it has gone viral. It has become, quite culturally relevant in the political discourse scene. So we're going to be making a lot of content related to this event.
I mean, we introduced new things, so I don't know. I don't know what the monoculture is.
People are going to claim, yeah, but this guy's not famous. He's not, no one really knows who he is. That's why. But how is that even relevant?
Yeah, who's going to claim that? I mean, oh, it doesn't matter. This guy doesn't have a platform. He's not famous. I mean, if anyone claims that, I'm going to be the first to tell them that's ridiculous.
And multiculturalism, which have, instead of creating a monoculture into which people are encouraged to buy in and integrate, have instead created a society in which people are encouraged to see themselves as members of an individual community.
He fails to see that he is the very thing he thinks his opponents are.
About 40 died. But this is what I hate about these people, is like they make a career, right? They make a career out of violent and aggressive politics and riling it up.
Yeah, so this this person's obviously only seeing Konstantin Kisin's ideas through just like overly caked in bias, right? He's cherry picking particular things that scream out to him. I'd like to do a test with this individual and read off maybe 100 pages of different quotations without saying who they're from and see what he agrees with and what he doesn't. And I'm sure I would get him to agree with many of Konstantin Kisin's positions. But there is a focus on ideas that he detests, which I believe we should have ultimate patience for. The war of ideas is where we ought address these things under constraint. And in Pangburn philosophy, that would be under the constraint of good faith and helpfulness, so that we can ensure that we're giving ourselves the best chance to bear fruit.
Stoking it up.
So therefore we should take them out because they're riling things up. They're too full of hatred, so we should hate them.
And then they're like, oh, thank you for letting me discuss the ideas and ruining your fucking country with all this bullshit.
Oh, so they're ruining your country, but Konstantin can't have concerns about people ruining his country.
I think that concepts like England were created in order for monarchs to consolidate power in their kingdoms.
And if this continues, it will only get worse.
And this could have gone very differently. How do people get to the point of what you're saying in this video? Well, it all comes down to the laws of narrative. There's always going to be people that wish you harm. You just have to learn how to spot them. And if you're interested in these concepts, I do have a book coming out in August. I've been working on this for 2 years. I began writing it when I was still a high school teacher. It's meant to be more of a methodology. The reality is we have opponents every day. I want it to be that kind of book that people carry around in their bag and it's like wrinkled up because they're using it and it's all marked up with annotations and notes. It examines the laws of narrative and how narrative leads people to what you're seeing in this video. The lessons I have found most valuable. So,
okay, interesting video. There wasn't any evidence provided as to that this person actually attended the event. Warren Smith is kind of taking that kind of as gospel here. That investigation is still ongoing, and I haven't seen any evidence yet. But if we are to assume that this person did attend the event, assume that they are being truthful, which it looks like they are, and even if they weren't being, this is still problematic stuff that needs to be investigated by law enforcement. This is it's a terrible situation. I hate seeing this. This seems to be, from what I gather, someone who needs high levels of mental health treatment. They seem like someone to me that has, their mental health is in a dangerous space. Their social health probably is as well if they are communicating and acting in this antisocial manner. So yeah, that's it's worrying. Let me go through some of your guys' comments here. Thank you all for being here, by the way. Make sure you take a second to smash that like button. It definitely helps with the reach, and it helps you to be notified when we go live again. Someone says, fully agree with your approaching this. Cool, thank you. Yeah, and like I said at the beginning of the video, violence is not welcome in at our events, or violent rhetoric, anything like that. This is why we have security to deal with any of those kinds of threats. And sometimes those threats will go undetected if there's no obvious action related to them during the course of the event. But we are ready to deal with that kind of stuff. Let's see. Adam says, Pangburn, just curious, do you ever analyze the incident with Salman Rushdie a couple years ago and what went wrong there that someone got through? No, I haven't taken a look at that in great detail. I know of the event. Just scrolling down the comments here. James Stand first said, Pangburn is just trying to milk this content. And then they said, Pangburn is brain cancer with terrible thumbnails, terrible hosting, and are desperate to milk this debate for everything they can. Are you a real person? Because you're doing an incredible amount of mind reading there, my friend. It shows a severe lack of wisdom. Pangburn virtue number 3, this person again, James Stand. Pangburn virtue number 3, clout chase and milk all content. There is no rock bottom. No, actually, the third Pangburn virtue is communication with the corresponding maxim that good faith and helpfulness are the minimum requirements for a fruitful dialectic. But nice try. Let's see. Someone says, is Warren's video a giant bait? Well, I think he definitely jumped the gun, unless he has access to facts and information that I don't have access to, which I think is unlikely, considering I've been in touch with Konstantin's management team, and I'm the event organizer. The law enforcement has my contact information, and I doubt they would be releasing information to Warren Smith. So yeah, it's important to be to not try and do the bad journalism thing to try to be first. We should try to be right. We should try to be empirical about this kind of information. Obviously, there was a lot that wasn't empirical about Warren Smith's video here. But again, he did some debate analysis on the Konstantin versus Destiny debate. So I'm going to be critiquing his analysis. So we'll get into deeper whether or not he is providing high resolution analysis, mid-tier, or low resolution analysis. But there was a lot of things that I would consider low resolution here. Some overgeneralization and some, jumping the gun, not providing facts and empirical data. Someone says Destiny is intentionally fomenting hate and violence in his community and then celebrating when it happens. Dude is a net negative on politics. Join me on Discord and send me the direct evidence of that. I'm doubtful that there's direct evidence of that Destiny is intentionally fomenting hate and violence in his community. I would like to see the direct evidence of that. Square says people confuse the term war of ideas as meaning people having to war with each other because they can't separate the thought from the thinker. Yeah, no, the war of ideas it's about doing ideological battle. It's what happens between Islamists and Christians when they're debating competing doctrine. That's the war of ideas. Destiny and Konstantin were on a battlefield engaging in the war of ideas on our stage. And the Pangburn battlefield comes with particular constraints. You could say it comes with, if we're visualizing this as like a topology map, it comes with physics that are grounded in good faith and helpfulness. When that starts being violated, the ground begins to shake and becomes more difficult to operate under because of the constraint. So you won't have okay. Scrolling. Marvelously, you can join our Discord server and you can just send it to me in a DM and I'll accept your DM. Or you can email it to travis@pang-burn.com. K Dizzy, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, is Pangburn ready for an Avengers level threat? I'm always ready for anything, man. Rock and roll. The Discord link is here. Okay, yeah, so yeah, like I said, in our 10-year history here, we've never had a violent incident. We've never had anything like this happen. We've been touring Destiny around the United States of America on the anti-Trump debate tour. And basically in the middle of that, the Charlie Kirk assassination happened, which of course I think was a disgusting act. But through all of that touring, Destiny going head to head with MAGA Trumpers and some more moderate conservatives, we haven't had any violent threats or incidents. So, yeah, it's too bad to see this. I don't like seeing it, but we are always prepared to deal with any kind of violent individuals that might attend our events. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's enough for this live stream. There's 200 or so of you in the room. Well, actually, I might take this as an opportunity. Can you all let me know in the comments section who you would like to see on the Pangburn stage next? Just spam me with names who you think is worthy of the opportunity, who you would like to see get an opportunity on the Pangburn stage, who you think can handle it. Let me know. I think it's about time we get Steven Pinker back on the stage. It's been a while, quite a long time. Yeah, Douglas Murray, Warren Smith, who we just talked about here. Let's see. Destiny against Douglas Murray. Interesting. Mehdi Hassan. Yep. We've got a lot of requests for Mehdi Hassan as well. So someone said Andrew Wilson. Okay. Josh Shapiro. The Mogler. Interesting. I would also like to ask you guys, if please tag me if you have an answer to this, but do any of you support any of this kind of political violence or this violent rhetoric? And tell me why you do. I want to obviously advise against that and demonstrate to you how that is just simply bad and in many cases evil to wish for. But someone said Mehdi Hassam, Weinstein Bros, Douglas Murray, Steven Pinker, Isaiah Martin. I'm going to have all of this, these names after the fact, so we'll be able to go through them as well. Someone says, thoughts on Andrew Wilson? He seems too dishonest. So there was a moment where I was working with Andrew to give him an opportunity on stage, and that fell apart. That I think was due to some bad faith and unhelpful behavior coming from him. I didn't get a good feeling from that with Andrew Wilson, but I'm a fallibilist, and I'm always open to new discussions, and we all have bad days, so who knows what that was all about. But we were at the contract stage, and there was a mistake made by my team in one of the contract item lines, and he took it as like a deceptive thing that was going on, and I assured him that it was just mistakes happen when we're trying to get contracts done, and we were very busy at that time. And he started making weird requests to make sure we weren't scammers, and so then I shut it down at that point. So yeah, that was a weird interaction. I've never had an interaction like that with anyone during the contract stages of getting an event together. And that was to be a live discussion debate between him and Richard Carrier. And then soon after that, I think it was, Modern Day Debate invited Richard Carrier to have a conversation with Andrew Wilson on their platform. So, which was, whatever. But do I think Andrew Wilson can maintain a good faith, helpful nature on the Pangburn stage? I don't know. I'm agnostic about that at this point. Let's see. Okay, great. Well, I think I don't want to keep you guys too long. These live streams are not about trying to maximize revenue or anything like that. So, and I want to make sure the video doesn't go too long so it gets decent retention. So if anyone has any more questions, tag me. I will answer your questions before we shut down the stream here. But make sure you smash that like button, leave a like on the live stream. It really does help things out. Hey, Adam. Adam says, for guests, are you only interested in the debate format, or would you host discussions with individual people or groups who mostly agree with each other? Well, we've done all kinds of things like that in the past. I promoted the Celebration of Science and Reason tour featuring Sam Harris as our headliner with Matt Dillahunty, plus other special guests like Richard Dawkins and Lawrence Krauss all around North America and the UK. So yes, we've done things like that before. I've sat on stage with Lawrence Krauss before. I'm probably going to start sitting on stage more often for some of these. My first book is nearly ready, so we're going to be talking a lot more about my first book as well, and using that as a way of analyzing the work and lives of intellectuals who I speak with. Bizarre Power says, do you have more events planned with Destiny? We don't have any in the books right now, but yeah, we're planning on continuing the anti-Trump debate tour through the United States. I would love to do every state, but that's up to Stephen if he wants to do that. But at this point, nothing on the books. No future signed contracts with Destiny yet, but we're in contact all the time, and of course, something he's made very clear to me is whatever it takes, he wants to get on stage with the big names. And I find, in general, Stephen to be a good faith, helpful, passionate interlocutor and a great warrior for the left side of the political spectrum. So I'm always thinking of who will be good opponents for Stephen. Wilkie says, was there actually an assassination attempt on Konstantin? The answer is, I don't know at this point. And neither does Warren Smith, who made this video. I'm almost certain of that. So I don't know at this point. I'm waiting to receive further information, hopefully directly from law enforcement, but I'm in contact with Konstantin Kisin's management team right now about this. So we'll wait to hear more information. I do have to say that about Destiny. One of the most hardworking individuals I've ever worked with in intellectualism. He works so hard. He likes to be helping with the tech side of things for the events as well. He's got a lot of skills. He provides his video equipment also. He's got a really nice video setup when we feel like we need to use it. He's just a fantastic person to work with. So it's been great. All of these people that, demonize him, based on some of his hot takes he's made and some of what they see as over-combative ways of engaging in the dialectic. You tend to not like it when people do that about thinkers you agree with. So why are you doing that to someone, who is a complete human being as well, like Destiny? It's just indicative of this very low resolution overgeneralization leading to demonization thinking that goes on in the political sphere. And I think it's a cancer. So at Pangburn, we try to provide what I like to call, political realism, trying to provide real extractions of the individual, put on stage, no moderator there to save them. What will they do under these circumstances? Will they be able to get to some place where they can actually start having a back and forth dialogue, actually engage in a dialectic? Or is this particular individual someone who can only survive under a formal debate structure where they now get to go up to the podium uninterrupted? You're not going to see formal debate structure at Pangburn. It's not what I'm interested in. If we are producing quote unquote debates, they will be in the form of the open dialectic. Probably the most structured thing you will see on our channel would have been the debate between Professor Dave Explains, Debunk the Funk, Dan Wilson, versus the two anti-vaxxers, Dr. Pierre Corey and Steve Kirsch. I had to bend, I had to be flexible and open to the requirements of the anti-vaxxer side. They wanted a much more stringent atmosphere than I'm used to providing, but I thought it was really important to make that event happen. So as a fallibilist, first, it always reminds me to be open to update, even if it's for particular circumstances. And I really the thing that governs everything I do, what matters most, are the well-being outcomes and what we are trying to do with regards to well-being. And by well-being, I always am meaning physical, mental, and social health. So I am trying to maximize well-being for myself and those around me. Those around me would include everyone who comes into contact with any of my work. Someone said we were talking about attitudes in to political violence. It's relevant if you reject political violence like Pangburn, how can you agree with Destiny's attitude? Someone's asking, if you reject political violence like Pangburn, how can you agree with Destiny's attitude to killings like that? Is someone maybe this is I'm missing context here. I'm scrolling up to see if I can find it. Maybe you can restate the question if this is a question, Square Circle. If you're talking about Destiny's response to like Charlie Kirk being assassinated, his being dismissive of showing his sympathy or empathy for that, making jokes about it, things like that. It is something Destiny and I disagree on. I think in order to be living the good life, to be doing good, you must always be seeking to maximize well-being for yourself and those around you. You can say things like, I think it's a disgusting thing what happened to Charlie, but what I'm also going to mention is that we have a president who is, getting away with all kinds of violent rhetoric that leads to suffering as well. Like there are ways to deliver this information that is not so cold-hearted, not so heavy-hearted, not so absent to the consideration of the well-being of those who are going to be affected by your words. These kinds of, disagreements are going to happen with your friends, your family, your colleagues, and that is okay. One story I have told, but I'll tell it again. When I was this is the whole intellectual dark web thing that I would make fun of around people that thought it was this very serious, heavy-hearted thing that we all got to take hyper seriously, and that's the only way we're going to be able to promote things like free speech in the world, open discourse. But I was at I brought Eric Weinstein, Brett Weinstein, and this was back in 2018. Eric Weinstein, Brett Weinstein, Sam Harris, Douglas Murray, Majid Nawaz, and Josh Zepps over to Australia for a conference. And we were all sitting at dinner together. And this was around the time that, Eric Weinstein had his intellectual dark web website, and it had all these different kinds of names on it. And I was resistant to it. I had made it clear I didn't want anything to do with this label of intellectual dark web. In fact, when Sam Harris was called and asked to be part of the New York Times article in relation to that, he called me and was like, "Have you heard anything about this intellectual dark web article that's happening?" And I said, "No, I haven't. But if I do, I won't want any part of it." And I would highly suggest not being a part of any of that, because I don't think it exemplifies what the war of ideas is all about. And that is, it ought be viewed as a light-hearted engagement it's better viewed as children playing war out in the field during recess. It should be embedded in a sense of play, lightheartedness. But anyways, that was my message to Sam Harris. He went on to be a part of this article, which he made it clear to me begrudgingly he went along with it. And the things I didn't like about it was like the heavy-hearted nature of it, and that it was these people who are just kind of new on the scene trying to take credit for being the people who are doing the difficult work in public intellectual discourse, when people like Richard Dawkins, who wasn't even mentioned in the IDW list of names, who are the pioneers of what's going on and who are having the conversation. Richard Dawkins, people like George Carlin, and all these different, James Randi, my hero, wasn't included on this list when he's been, grinding away at clearing the easy path for a lot of these guys to come in and claim that they are the heroes of intellectualism and free speech and all these other things. And I thought it was bullshit. But anyways, we were at this dinner in Australia, and we were all sat around the table, and then conversations about the intellectual dark web started piping up from the Weinstein brothers. And I piped up and I said, this whole intellectual dark web thing is silly. And there was a bit of a silence at the table. And I said, I think the war of ideas is more closely related to something warm, caring, open, playful than it is related to the secret access to the dark web, the like kind of like a secret society type feeling. It was more closed off than open in the presentation and the conceptualization of what the war of idea is. And I rejected it. And I said straight out there, and I said, what's more accurate than intellectual dark web? Intellectual warm blanket. It's like a warm blanket. You wrap it around yourself. It makes you feel cozy, safe, because you're just having a conversation. You're engaged in play. And then there was a bit of a chuckling at the stage, and Eric Weinstein, in his bombastic style of sense of humor, was like, "Yeah, but Travis, let's be honest. That's not going to get anyone laid." And that was his kind of joke about thinking that this marketing of the war of ideas to make it more popular to others needed to sound sexier or something, which I found very weird. But anyways, that's one of the stories I have related to this whole intellectual dark web thing that I think eventually went the way of the dodo. For one of the main reasons was because it just, I don't think it was a very strong concept that really did exemplify what the war of ideas was about. A lot of it is about openness, not being this thing that's closed off or secret or very difficult to attain. But anyways, I think I'll finish with that. Thank you so much for being here. Smash that like button before you leave. I will keep my ear to the ground on this supposed assassination attempt, or the fact that Warren Smith is claiming that Konstantin was close to being assassinated. We'll see if the evidence supports that when it comes out. But thank you so much for being here, As always, please be out there maximizing well-being for yourself and those around you. And again, let art and science inspire.